Hello students, welcome back to the new video of Standard 8 Science Chapter 7 Conservation of Plants and Animals. Already we had studied some particular part of the lesson, so today I will complete the chapter. So last video I had explained about what is meant by endangered species or animals, which are the endangered animals, where we can see all these things. So here in picture you can see now tiger. Tiger is an endangered type of animal. That is why tiger reserve is already started by the government to protect this particular species. Then wild buffalo, then Barasingha, etc. are some of the endangered type of animals. So now we can continue the chapter. I hope you are watching the video, otherwise very difficult for you to understand the points which we are discussing daily. So please listen the video. As soon as listening the video, you have to read the chapter which we are explaining. So tiger is one of many species which are slowly disappearing from our forest. But Satpura Tiger Reserve, yesterday I had explained about Satpura Tiger Reserve, is a unique in the sense that significant increase in the population of tigers has been seen here. So in Satpura Tiger Reserve, a number of tigers are there. So their population is increasing day by day. Once upon a time, animals like lions, elephants, wild buffaloes and Barasingha, you can see the picture of that one type of antelope, were also found in Satpura National Park. Animals whose numbers are diminishing to a level that they might face extinction are known as the endangered animals. Day by day their number is decreasing. So that is that type of animals are called endangered animals. So Professor Ahmad tells them that in order to protect the plants and animals, strict rules are imposed in all national parks. Human activities such as grazing, poaching, hunting, capturing of animals or collection of firewood, medicinal plants, etc. are not allowed in these places. So they can improve the number of endangered animals. So they can freely move and they can breed also. Now Madhavji tells Paheli that small animals are much more in danger of becoming extinct than the bigger animals. So the professor explained that this small animals' life is more in danger or they are going to extinct than the bigger animals. At times we kill snakes, frogs, lizards, bats, owls ruthlessly without realizing their importance in the ecosystem. All these animals which are smaller ones like snakes, frogs, lizards, bats, owls, all we are unnecessarily, cruelly we are hunting and destroying their population, and we were not knowing the importance of these animals in the ecosystem. By killing them, we are harming ourselves. They might be small in size, but their role in the ecosystem cannot be ignored. So even though they are very small in size, but they have very importance in the ecosystem. For example, if all the snakes are killed, what happens? The number of rats and the mouses will be increasing. Rodents and rats will be increasing. Like that, if we are killing all the lizards, bats, etc., then in number of insects and small birds also will be increasing, and they will spoil or they will destroy all the crops. So they form a part of food chains and food webs, about which you had already learned in standard 7. So you had already studied last year food chain, food web, etc. So these all animals are one or other part of food chain of food web. An ecosystem. What is meant by an ecosystem? An ecosystem is made of all plants, animals, and microorganisms in an area, along with the non-living components such as climate, soil, river deltas, etc. So ecosystem consists of all the plants, animals, and microorganisms, along with the non-living factors or components such as climate, soil, river, deltas, etc. Now you will study about the next part of the chapter, that is Red Data Book. What is Red Data Book and what is the use of that? So their professor already explained about that. We can also listen. Professor Ahmad explains about Red Data Book to the children. He tells them that Red Data Book is the source book which keeps a record of all the endangered animals and plants. So in Red Data Book, it is mentioned very clearly about the species or the animals which are in endangered group. Which animals are going to diminish from the earth. Their information, their names and their peculiarities, everything mentioned in Red Data Book. Red Data Book is maintained internationally by an organization. So this particular book is handled by a particular organization, internationally, all over the world, internationally by an organization. India also maintains Red Data Book for plants and animals found in India. So in India, which animal kingdom and which plant kingdoms are in endangered group, that will be mentioned in Indian Red Data Book. Like that, other countries also maintaining, and all this information will go to one particular international organization who is coordinating all the Red Data books of different countries, Asian countries and Western countries. So that is about Red Data Book. Next comes the part of the chapter is migration. You may be knowing the word migration. Already you got an idea about migration in 7th standard itself. Some of the animals and birds, they are moving from one particular habitat to another place during the unfavorable situation or unfavorable conditions, like extreme cold or extreme hot, to protect themselves, and they will return back to their homeland after that season will over. That process is called migration. So the excursion party then enters deeper into the forest under the guidance of Madhavji. They sit near the Tava reservoir to relax for some time. So one reservoir is there, so they sat nearby that reservoir, and their guide and their professor both were with them. Paheli observes some of the birds near the river. So that girl who was observing the birds which is near that reservoir or the river. Madhavji tells the children that these are migratory birds. So they wanted to know much more about these birds. So their Sir told, this particular birds are not staying here, but they are coming from other places. Kilometers and kilometers they are flying and coming during the winter season or summer season, depends upon the extreme climate, to protect themselves. These birds have flown from other parts of the world. So they are not coming from India. They are coming from different parts of the world. That means they may be coming from European countries or other Asian countries, etc. Migratory birds fly to far away areas every year during a particular time because of climate change. They fly for laying eggs as the weather in their natural habitat becomes very cold and inhospitable. So why these birds or why these animals are moving from their homeland to other places? Because of extreme cold, to protect themselves from extreme cold or for laying eggs. And after that season over, they will go back. Birds who cover long distances to reach another land are known as migratory birds. That also you had studied last year. You had studied flamingo coming in Nal Sarovar, Narayan Sarovar in Gujarat. During the winter season, they are coming from European countries like Siberia, Siberian, this we can say some birds, flamingo is coming from that particular country, extreme cold, and when the season will change, they will go back. So that is about migration and migratory birds. And some fishes are also coming from one particular sea or ocean to another place, laying eggs, then they will go back to their place where their habitat is there. Now, next, last part of the chapter is recycling and reforestation. So, what is meant by recycling of paper? Why paper is recycling? Because paper is prepared from wood only. If you will cut more and more trees for getting wood and making paper, then it will be one type of destroying the whole forest and disturbing the ecosystem. Professor Ahmad draws attention of the children to another cause of deforestation. Already he had explained about the causes of deforestation, that is due to the overpopulation. People want to cultivate new fields and farms, then constructing buildings, and also for other recreational purposes, etc. They are using the forest. Apart from that, there is also another cause of deforestation is there. He tells them that it takes 17 full-grown trees to make 1 ton of paper. 1 ton of paper, if we want to prepare, we have to cut 17 full-grown trees. Therefore, we should save paper. Professor Ahmad also tells that paper can be recycled 5 to 7 times for use. So, instead of making new papers every now and then, we can use the old ones which are used one, take to the recycling factories, convert into the pulp and make another paper from that. So, like that, 5 to 7 times the used paper we can recycle and use for many purposes. So, we can save trees. If each student saves at least 1 sheet of paper in a day, we can save many trees in a year. So he explained the students that if each student will save one paper every day, so we can save many trees in a year. We should save, reuse, and reuse used paper and recycle it. So we have to save the trees, we have to save the paper, reuse it, and also recycle it. By this, we not only save trees but also save energy and water needed for manufacturing paper. So to prepare 1 ton of paper, we need a lot of electricity. Energy is also needed. Gallons and gallons of water is also needed. So if we will save 1 ton paper, we can save 17 full trees as well as some particular quantity of water and some units of energy also we can save it. Moreover, the amount of harmful chemicals used in paper making will also be reduced. So while preparing the paper, some chemicals are also using and that will be harmful to us. So if we will reduce the use of paper and we recycle it and reuse it, then minimizing the use of chemicals for preparing the paper. Now, reforestation. What is meant by reforestation? Forestation already you had studied. Then deforestation also you had studied. So just the opposite of deforestation is known as reforestation. Their professor suggests that answer to deforestation is reforestation. How can we minimize or how can we give answer to deforestation? That is called reforestation. Cultivate more and more trees and plants. Reforestation is restocking of the destroyed forest by planting new trees. The planted trees should generally be of the same species which were found in that particular forest. So all the trees cannot grow, all the plants cannot grow in all the forests or the places. So when we are cultivating some particular trees in the forest which we are already cut, we have to be very careful that same type of species which we had cut already should be planted again. Otherwise, many of them will destroy. Their habitats are different, so they are not able to grow all the trees in all places. Reforestation can take place naturally also. So, man also can help to for reforestation. Naturally also reforestation will take place. How it will be? The seeds will be dispersing here, there you had already studied in 6th standard, dispersal of seeds with the help of the animals, birds, air, water, human beings, etc. So, when the seeds will be spreading here, there, then it will grow during the favorable conditions. If the deforested area is left undisturbed, it re-establishes itself. Suppose one area, one forest, if we had cut some of the trees and don't disturb that area, keep it like that for some months, we can see new plants will grow by its own way, not to disturb that particular place. Don't construct any buildings or don't start making fields or farms, etc. So, naturally, the roots or the seeds which are lying in the soil, under favorable conditions, they will start germinating and new plants will arise. In natural reforestation, there is no role of human beings. We have already caused tremendous damage to our forests. So natural reforestation, human beings having no role. I told some seeds are already in the soil under favorable, suitable conditions like air, water and sunlight is getting. During that time, they will start grow by its own way. And from the roots of the plants also they will grow new plants. If we have to retain our green belt for luster for the future generations, plantation of more trees is the only option. So suppose you want to keep the green belt for our future next generation, plantation of more trees is the only option. If we will cultivate more and more plants and trees in our forest, in our surrounding areas, etc., then it will be helpful for the coming generation. Professor Ahmad told them that in India we have the Forest Conservation Act. This act is aimed at preservation and conservation of natural forests and meeting of basic needs of the people living in or near the forest. So some of the people are adapted to live in the hilly regions or the forest regions. So we have to see their basic needs, not to disturb them. They will conserve the natural forest and they themselves also will stay, they will be happy near the forest. So according to the Forest Conservation Act, the government aimed the preservation and conservation of natural forest and meeting the basic needs of the people living in or near the forest. So along with that, the children had visited the Panjmahi biosphere and biosphere. They had visited some national park as well as the sanctuary, wildlife sanctuary. They got a lot of information. They had seen the migratory birds, etc. And it is the time for them to go back. It was sunset. On getting back, Professor Ahmad and the children thanked Madhavji, who was the guide for giving them a lot of information about that particular place. So they, all of them, give thanks to Madhavji, who gave beneficial guidelines and exciting experience shared with these children. So along with that, they returned back to their houses. So students, I also had concluded the lesson. So all the different points of the lesson of today I had explained. Go through the chapter. So along with that, this lesson is completed.